So, Baze, what do you think of today's performance? A tough loss against Ecuador?
Yeah, it was a tough evening. You know, they're a very good team with some really good players. So at times, you know, we were really fighting hard to stay in the game and stay with them. And you know, we got to half time at 0-0. Tried to juggle it a little bit in some of our shape defensively, and you know, we made some changes within the second half to players and the shape to try to compete and try to get back into the game. But it was overall, you know, really proud of the players' effort. You know, worked so hard, you know, and stuck at it. You know, ultimately they're a pretty good team, and they were better than us today, and we know that. So definitely things for us to keep getting better at. You know, obviously we know we're missing players from the squad, and you know, the couple of changes, you know, losing Joe Bell and Boxy today as well. You know, but the way we looked at it, it was giving other people opportunities, and you know, I thought everybody did well without really sort of being able to live, you know, play our normal game at times. So it was a tough evening.
Can you speak a bit more about the changes with Boxy and Joe Bell and what the reasons they couldn't play today?
Yeah, I mean, Joe, you remember from the last tour against Poland and Norway, he didn't play for us in that tour because he's got some fatigue in his hamstrings that, you know, has been difficult for him to deal with. So definitely we're on a managing load for Joe. So he played the full game against Colombia and did really well, you know, and that's tough to back it up. You know. So we made a few changes coming into today and tried to freshen it up. Like I say, Ecuador are a very good team and played well tonight, you know, and obviously Boxy, you know, it was good to get Tyler a game. I thought Tyler played very well. Boxy has been outstanding for us. You know, he's got an MLS semi-final coming up at the weekend.
Obviously, Ecuador started with their $250 million Premier League player. We were obviously missing Chris Wood for this tour. Does that extra experience for their team, the fact they could put out their full stretch side, make a difference, or is it just a good test for this team to see what they can face at World Cup?
I mean, a bit of everything. You know, we'll never hide behind that. You know, it's an opportunity for us to compete and play against two good teams on this window. You know, which for lots of the periods, you know, we did really well. Obviously, we know we're missing players. It's an opportunity for people to, you know, get this experience against two World Cup type opposition and have that tight turnaround, which, you know, was a little bit harder for us because they played on Thursday night, so they sort of had 2 days extra to recover. But again, there's no excuses. You know, we came here to try to get results. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do that, but you know, the boys worked so hard to try to stay in the game. And you know, at 1-0, Ben Old has a chance, you know, through on goal to equalise, and that could change the night. But you know, it didn't happen, and ultimately, you know, we threw players on, we threw attackers on, and changed the shape a little bit to try to get back in the game, and you know, and got caught at the end.
So obviously, this has been a tour against two South American opponents. With really loud, noisy South American crowds. What has that experience meant for the players to really prepare them, I suppose, for what you could face?
I think they've had a taste of, you know, the World Cup type opposition. You know, and like I say, we said when we qualified that we wanted to spend the rest of the year playing against as higher ranked teams as we can, and we've managed to do that. You know, when we look at Ivory Coast, Ukraine, Australia, and Poland, Norway, Colombia, Ecuador. Yeah, these are some really good teams, and for most of those games we've been pretty credible competing against them in periods. Always things for us to do better at. You know, today we weren't as good in possession, in our build-up and our progression as we have been in other games, and we're still working on getting those goal-scoring moments, more of those moments.
Cool. Thanks, Baze.
Cool, thanks.